So back in September we took a look at the Huawei Mate 20 Lite, and it was an impressive device with some high specs and a great screen, but the most impressive part about it was the camera with the AI functionality. The AI essentially analysed the frame and would provide tips on ways to improve the picture. Now all this remains in the Mate 20X, but beefed up somewhat. The main improvement is the screen. It's an OLED this time, which is a great step up in and of itself, but it's also far larger at 7.2 inches. Plus, with the camera being confined to that tiny notch, none of that 7.2 inches is obscured. You've got a lot of gorgeous screen to work with. On the more pragmatic side, 128GB of built-in storage with SD card support, so no running out of space on this one. Plus, with 6GB of RAM and a supercharged battery, the Mate 20X is a solid phone with some great features included, such as the camera AI. It's certainly a great step up from the Mate 20 Lite. And continuing with Huawei releases, they really do release a lot, don't they? 2019 sees the second release of the P Smart. So what's the difference between this and the last model? Well, the screen is the first thing you'll probably notice, going from 5.65 inches to 6.21 inches with an aspect ratio of 19.5:9 from the previous 18:9. Got that? Okay. Simple stuff, but it's a good step up. Add to that an improved CPU and an additional 400mAh on the battery, taking it to 3400. I should mention though that the P Smart is still using a micro USB charging port, having not made the switch to USB-C. Now that's not the biggest problem by any means, but it can be a contentious point for some. Otherwise, the P Smart 2019 is very similar to its predecessor, unsurprisingly, albeit with a bump to the screen quality, size and performance. It makes the 2019 model the definitive one, and a solid mid-range phone overall. And finally, Motorola have just announced their G7 lineup featuring 4 phones. The Moto G7, G7 Plus, G7 Power and the G7 Play. And now I have the fun task of rattling off all the differences between them. Both the G7 and the Plus are, well, not identical, but they are very similar. The main differences are that the stereo speakers on the Plus are much louder and the charging speeds. The G7 has a modest 15-watt turbo-powered charger, whereas the Plus has 27 watts in addition to Quick Charge 4.0 support. The differences are noticeable, but not numerous. As for the Power and the Play, well, the Power fails to live up to its name as we speak. Obviously it's designed as a budget version, but even so, the small screen is taken up by an unnecessarily large notch, which is made worse by the fact that the screen is only 720p. And that fact is also true for the Play, but the Play gets more of a pass because it's intended as an even budgetier version, and it has the smallest screen. So I'm not about to dismiss the entire G7 lineup before it's even released, but currently they look to be a little less than ideal. It's possible that these drawbacks could see an improvement before release, and I hope so, but we'll take a further look at them when they are out. CeX.